Babylon's shadow, celestial balance, cosmic betrayal, cosmic chaos, underworld rising, divine wrath, eternal conflict, giants awaken, infernal might, shadowed thrones.
Tense beginnings. Dawn breaks over Babylon, its light muted by thick clouds that mirror the heavy atmosphere gripping the city. Ira stands atop the battlements, the Blazefrost celestial sword in hand, its cold power thrumming as if resonating with his growing dread. The Persian army is positioned beyond the city's reach, but its formation is strange. Unlike the past, the massive infantry and siege engines are missing, replaced by a smaller cavalry force waiting just out of range. The quiet is broken by taunts from Persian riders, their mocking words directed at Ira. Despite the insults and provocation, Ira remains calm, sensing a deeper strategy at play. The unusual stillness of the enemy unsettles him, and he feels the weight of Ninmagis's dark presence looming over the battlefield. The sorceress, known for her cunning and malevolence, is undoubtedly orchestrating something sinister. A false retreat, and the trap revealed. As morning fully breaks, the Persian cavalry appears to retreat in disorder, seemingly abandoning their position. Ira, suspecting a ploy, but unable to ignore the tactical advantage, commands the Babylonian forces to pursue. Mounted on the powerful Black Iron Horse, Ira leads his soldiers through the city gates, determined to seize the opportunity and strike decisively. However, as they approach the fleeing army, the retreating soldiers part, revealing a trap. Behind the disarrayed ranks lies a wall of legendary beasts, lions, tigers, leopards, and other feral creatures summoned by Ninmagis's dark magic. Their eyes glow with an unholy light, their movements charged with unnatural energy. The true assault has begun. The battle unfolds. The beasts surge forward in a wave of claws and teeth, and the battlefield erupts into chaos. Ira wields the Blazefrost celestial sword with desperate precision, releasing waves of cold energy that slow the creatures and encase many in frost. The Black Iron Horse fights alongside him, its hooves shattering frozen beasts and creating shockwaves of ice across the ground. Yet, the sheer number of beasts proves overwhelming. For every monster slain, more take its place, and the cold begins to take a toll on Ira's body. The Babylonian soldiers are swiftly overwhelmed, their ranks decimated by the relentless assault. Ira realizes with horror that he has fallen into Ninmagis's trap, isolated from the city's defenses and surrounded by an unstoppable force. A grim stand. As the battle drags on, Ira's determination to protect Babylon does not waver. Despite his exhaustion and the wounds inflicted by the beasts, he channels the full power of the Blazefrost celestial sword, creating layers of ice that temporarily hold the creatures at bay. However, the unrelenting wave of monsters, empowered by Ninmagis's magic, continues to press forward. Relentless assault. Ira fights desperately as the beasts, driven by Ninmagis's dark magic, overwhelm him and the Black Iron Horse. Despite the Blazefrost celestial sword's icy power, their sheer numbers push Ira to his limits. Blood from his wounds freezes midair, marking the battlefield with a trail of crimson ice. The cold barriers he summons slow the monsters, but cannot contain the relentless assault. As Ira glances back, he sees the shattered remnants of the Babylonian soldiers who had followed him, slain by the monstrous horde. Realizing the full extent of Ninmagis's trap, Ira steels himself for one final stand. He channels all his strength into the Blazefrost celestial sword, creating layers of ice that thicken and freeze the advancing beasts. Yet, the dark magic compelling them overrides their fear. The beasts, lions, tigers, and monstrous rhinoceroses smash into the barriers with ferocity. Ira's exhaustion grows, but he endures, refusing to fall. The turning point. Summoning a final surge of power, Ira drives his sword into the earth. The resulting shockwave of cold energy radiates outward, freezing everything in its path. The air becomes unbearably cold, and jagged spikes of ice erupt from the ground, impaling the beasts. A third, impenetrable ice barrier forms, burning the remaining monsters with its intense frost. The relentless tide falters, and the surviving beasts retreat, their dark compulsion broken by the overwhelming cold. Ira, physically and emotionally drained, surveys the frozen battlefield littered with the shattered forms of his foes. The Black Iron Horse, his loyal companion, steadies him as he struggles to remain upright. Though victorious, Ira is left with the weight of loss and the realization that the battle has cost the lives of his comrades. Ninmagis's three-front attack. Before Ira can recover, the next phase of Ninmagis's plan unfolds. While the beasts distracted Ira, grotesque monsters burrowed beneath Babylon's walls and emerged within the city. These nightmarish creatures, twisted amalgamations of flesh and scales, rampage through the streets, slaughtering civilians and soldiers alike. Screams echo as the monsters crush barricades and drag victims into the shadows. The defenders within Babylon fight valiantly, but are no match for the creature's supernatural strength and speed. Chaos reigns as the city burns, its once proud walls failing to protect its people. The dark sorcery of Ninmagis has turned Babylon's streets into a living nightmare. The Black Iron Horse's fury. As Ira races back to Babylon, a shadow blindsides him. Ninmagis herself strikes, sending him sprawling. She mocks Ira, confident in her victory, and unleashes dark energy to crush him. Near death, Ira collapses, and Ninmagis prepares to claim final victory. But as Ira falls, the Black Iron Horse roars in defiance. Its cry, ancient and primal, shakes the battlefield. The beast's fury unleashes a wave of power, freezing the ground and terrifying the Persian soldiers. Even Ninmagis falters as the horse absorbs her dark magic, turning it into fuel for its icy wrath. The tide begins to shift once more. Ninmagis's triumph turns to fear as the Black Iron Horse's roar ceases, leaving behind a haunting silence. The battlefield lies frozen, littered with shattered Persian soldiers and beasts, their allies decimated by the unleashed power. Ninmagis, overwhelmed and weakened, sees the Black Iron Horse standing protectively over Ira's lifeless body, its fiery rage replaced by sorrow. The Persian army, broken and terrified, falters, their once imposing ranks reduced to chaos. Ira's journey in the void. In the space between life and death, Ira's soul drifts in a cold void, surrounded by silence. A golden light breaks through, and an ancient, benevolent voice calls out, urging him to embrace his latent power. The voice reveals that Ira's journey is unfinished, and that his potential goes beyond mortal limits. Bolstered by this revelation, Ira focuses, unleashing his inner strength. The golden light fills him, reconnecting him with life and his purpose. Resurrection and confrontation. Ira awakens, renewed and more powerful, his wounds healed by the golden energy within. The Blaze Frost celestial sword calls to him, returning to his grasp as an extension of his revived spirit. Ninmagis, shocked and disbelieving, confronts the resurrected warrior. Her once dominant dark magic flickers, faltering in the face of Ira's newfound strength. When Ninmagis attacks with a torrent of shadow energy, Ira meets it with the sword's icy light, shattering her power and forcing her back. Realizing her vulnerability, Ninmagis grows desperate, claiming she remains unstoppable. Ira, unrelenting, channels his awakened might and hurls the Blazefrost celestial sword with precision. The icy blade pierces Ninmagis, driving her back into the shadows she commanded, where her essence is consumed. Her final screams echo as the darkness that sustained her collapses into the void, her reign of terror extinguished. The ruin of Babylon. Despite Ninmagis's defeat, Babylon lies in ruins. Smoke and flames rise above the city, its streets littered with rubble, fallen soldiers, and slaughtered civilians. Ira rides the Black Iron Horse into the devastated city, wielding the Blazefrost celestial sword to halt the monstrous onslaught still ravaging the city's core. His freezing strikes turn the creatures into brittle statues of ice that shatter under his fury. Defending the palace. Within the palace, King Nabonidus faces the oncoming monsters with despair, his defenses crumbling. Just as the monsters breach the doors, Ira arrives, cutting them down with his icy power. His relentless attack turns the tide, saving the palace from destruction. Yet the city remains vulnerable, with scattered monsters continuing to wreak havoc. Resolved to rebuild, standing amidst the ruins, Ira reassures the shaken king and remaining soldiers that Babylon will endure. Though exhausted and sorrowful for the lives lost, Ira focuses on rallying the city's survivors. He vows to protect Babylon until its strength is restored, symbolizing hope amid despair. In the aftermath of devastation, Ira and King Nabonidus rally Babylon's remaining defenders for a decisive final stand. Though weary, the soldiers are invigorated by Ira's indomitable spirit and leadership. Together, they march through the city, systematically hunting the monsters that continue to ravage Babylon. The Blaze Frost Celestial Sword becomes a weapon of salvation, freezing the monsters into brittle statues of ice that shatter under the relentless onslaught of Ira and the Black Iron Horse. The battle reaches its apex as Ira faces a massive monster, threatening a group of civilians. With a mighty swing of his blade, Ira unleashes an overwhelming wave of cold, freezing the beast and protecting the helpless survivors. This heroic act embodies the warrior's unwavering resolve to save his city, even amidst the ruins. The remaining monsters, sensing their inevitable defeat, retreat into the shadows, leaving the city silent except for the crackling of fires and the cries of the wounded. As dawn breaks, Babylon lies in ruins. The once mighty city, renowned for its splendor and strength, is now reduced to rubble and ash. Ira, physically and emotionally drained, surveys the destruction. The streets are littered with debris, the homes of countless citizens now smoldering wrecks. Survivors, shocked and grieving, emerge from hiding to confront the stark reality of their losses. In the palace, Ira and Nabonidus discuss the heavy cost of the battle. The king, burdened by despair, acknowledges the devastating toll on their people. Yet Ira's resolve remains steadfast. He reassures Nabonidus and the survivors that Babylon's spirit endures, not in its walls, but in its people. The city's resilience will pave the way for its reconstruction. Ira's determination inspires hope among the survivors, who begin clearing debris, aiding the injured, and salvaging what remains. Belshaltinana, the king's daughter, becomes a key ally, standing beside Ira as a symbol of unity and leadership. Together, they guide Babylon's citizens in their efforts to rebuild, offering both comfort and strength. As the survivors gather in Babylon's central square, Nabonidus and Ira address the crowd. The king emphasizes the city's enduring legacy, while Ira calls for unity and determination to honor the sacrifices of those who perished. Their words ignite a collective resolve among the people, who vow to restore Babylon, brick by brick, despite their grief. In the quiet moments that follow, Ira reflects on the immense loss, but remains focused on the future. The Blaze Frost Celestial Sword, now a symbol of hope, is sheathed as the Black Iron Horse rests beside him. Standing with Belshaltinana, Ira gazes at the devastated city, knowing the path ahead will be long and arduous. Yet, with the unity and strength of its people, Babylon will rise again. As the fires die out and the stars emerge, the night carries a renewed sense of hope. The darkness has not triumphed, and Babylon's spirit remains unbroken. Together, its people will rebuild, ensuring the city endures as a testament to their resilience and courage.